So about a month ago, I made that video about how I lost my freelance writing job to AI, and obviously that went pretty viral. But basically, I might have gotten replaced by ChatGPT itself, a system that can do the same task as me, but much more efficiently and at a much lower cost. A month later, and it turns out the same thing might have literally happened to ChatGPT. It's potentially getting replaced by DeepSeek, a new system that can do the same tasks as it, but much more efficiently and at a much lower cost. Shit, where have I heard that before? You know, they say, karma's not a bitch, she's a mirror. In all seriousness though, it's not like I have an actual grudge against AI, I'm just going along with the meme. But yeah, if you haven't heard about the whole DeepSeek situation, it's kind of insane. Obviously, I'm not an expert. You can probably find someone better than me to explain it if you want to know all the details. But what I understand about DeepSeek is this. It was developed in China at a fraction of a cost of what it took to develop ChatGPT. It's much more efficient, as in it takes much less computing power to do the same tasks as ChatGPT. It's open source, so the code is really available to anyone, and anyone can see it or use it for themselves. And then the last thing, like the nail in the coffin to all this, is that it's completely free to use, unlike ChatGPT, which runs on a subscription model, so no wonder why it became like the #1 downloaded app in the App Store. But yeah, obviously all of this created a huge panic that caused a lot of American tech stocks to just plummet, you know? And that's kind of the long story short version of this whole DeepSeek versus ChatGPT lore, and I guess I'm all here for it. We'll see which one wins in the end. But all of this really goes back to a specific point that I made in my previous video about how nowadays it's so crazy that it's not even just humans competing against AI, it's that AIs are literally competing against other AIs. AIs are competing against each other and making that even a saturated market. All of the companies behind them are competing with each other to try to make the best AI, so these kinds of tools are only going to become more powerful as we head further and further into the future. And with DeepSeek, especially since it's coming from China, the competition is going to accelerate exponentially. Obviously, now it becomes more of a political thing, which means that even the government is probably going to invest a lot of money into American AI infrastructure. And I think it's safe to say that we're going to see some huge, crazy advancements in AI in the coming years. But I just wanted to talk about what this all means for the future, because I don't think it's good, at least not good for the average human being. It's going to mean more job losses, obviously. I saw this Joe Rogan podcast with Mark Zuckerberg the other day, and Zuckerberg was basically saying how in just a few years, Meta's own AI is going to be at the level of a mid-level programmer. I mean, that sucks for someone who spent 4 years grinding away in college to study CS because they were told that it's the best industry to get into. But the point is that when AI can do this stuff literally for free, what incentive does a company actually have to not replace their human workers with AI, both in tech and any other industry, really? I mean, it's definitely possible that some companies will want to prioritize humans and not just follow the AI hype, especially like smaller or family-owned businesses. But let's face it, a vast majority of large corporations just don't care about you. Most of them are going to be more than happy to replace you with a robot that takes every order perfectly, does your job as good or even better than you, and doesn't cost a thing to them. No payroll, no benefits, no nothing. Again, most companies don't care about you. Most CEOs are sharks in a hyper-competitive global pool. Like it or not, that's what it's come to nowadays. And at the end of the day, it's profits over people. Companies just want to maximize their own efficiency. That's just how the system works. Because even the companies that do have some sort of moral standing and loyalty towards human beings or whatever, and genuinely do their best to not replace people with AI, the truth is that they will eventually be forced to do so as well. Because if they don't, then they simply won't be able to compete against all the other businesses out there using highly advanced AI to outperform them. Even these most moral and loyal companies will be forced to either adapt or crash out. And it sucks that we've come to this, you know, especially as just normal people like me and you who don't run these billion-dollar tech industries. They're probably the only ones who will benefit from this AI explosion. But another point I feel like is important to make when talking about this issue is that the deeper problem isn't the fact that AI is taking over human tasks that could be done more efficiently. The problem is that humans rely on these jobs to make money, to survive. Like, what I mean is, if we didn't need to have jobs, then we wouldn't care about AI taking jobs. I know that sounds obvious, but that's kind of where the idea of UBI comes in, or universal basic income. If you don't know what it is, basically the idea is that you take all this extra money that businesses are able to save because of AI efficiency, and then it goes towards some UBI fund, which is then given back to the people who lost their jobs because of AI. And in a political sense, I feel like I'm not informed enough on all the logistics of this to give an informed opinion, but it's just something that is an interesting thing to think about. But at the end of the day, I don't think it even matters, because I feel like we kind of all know deep down that this isn't going to happen. There's not a chance that corporations or the government, which are basically one and the same nowadays anyways, there's no way that these bureaucracies are going to give up any of their profits instead of hoarding it for themselves. Again, we all know that they don't genuinely care about you. I'm not saying that to be depressing, it's just the truth of the world and the economic system we live in. Anyways, I don't really know where this is going. I just think this whole AI epidemic is gonna be insane now that DeepSeek and China are in the picture and ChatGPT might have lost its job. All I can say is really just sit tight, buckle up. It's gonna be a wild ride. It's gonna be crazy next few years. I also want to make clear that I'm not saying all this to be like a doomer or some shit like that. I just feel like what I'm saying about this stuff, even though it might sound pessimistic, it's just the truth of the world, and sometimes we have to acknowledge that. AI is going to be advancing at a faster rate, more people are going to lose their jobs, and that's pretty much the only conclusion that anyone can come to, unless we can find some very innovative way to adapt to this. UBI is an example of one of these proposals, but I don't think it's going to happen. But if you have some kind of revolutionary idea of how we can adapt and survive in this new AI age, then obviously leave them down in the comments. But yeah, I don't think I'm the only one who's at least somewhat concerned about our future, politically, economically, and just everything. But obviously I want to end off the video on a positive note, as I always do. And what I will say is this, on the bright side of things. Obviously it's very difficult as an individual to change the overall trajectory of the world, but we always have control over our own lives. Just remember that. And this is gonna sound a little bit fucked up, but at least it's my mentality. Basically, if anything, I think with all of the chaos of the modern world and where the future is headed, you can actually twist it in a way to see it as motivation for you to kind of do whatever you want in life and chase your genuine goals instead of just listening to what society tells you. Because society is insane, and in that case, why would you have to listen to them? Why play by the rules of a world that's gone crazy? Might as well just do whatever the fuck you want. Am I the only one, or does it feel like we're living in some kind of twisted dystopia? Like with AI, the job market, inflation, politics, social media and brain rot, the dating market, all these wars and tragedies going on. Just so much craziness. But personally, I see it as even more of a justification to go your own way. Like sometimes I think I'm the crazy one for quitting physics after studying it in college, driving across the country, doing freelance work, and starting up a YouTube channel. But when I think about it, I realize that, no, I'm not the crazy one actually. The world is crazy. So if you have any like wild ideas or something you want to pursue, you're probably not crazy. It's the world that's crazy. So maybe in a dark way that motivates you as well. Anyways though, before I end off the video, you know what's the funniest part of all this? You remember when ChatGPT took my job and then told the story of it, right? Like how there was an AI generated summary underneath my video about how I lost my job to AI? Well, looks like I got my revenge this time. Anyways, thanks for watching. One quick message though. I guess this is my first video sort of in the world of like news/commentary. I'm not sure if I want to do more of this stuff, but if you like hearing my reactions or opinions to anything, then obviously let me know. And again, this channel is not specifically about AI, but at the same time I've fully embraced the meme, so if there's ever an interesting topic like this that comes up again, obviously I'll talk about it, but just don't expect every video to be about AI. And then also, I would really appreciate if you go and check out my second channel, where I post travel and outdoors vlogs, and it's genuinely really cool stuff. And honestly, there's like a sort of a bigger purpose for it, I guess, because part of the reason why I created the channel is to show that, even in this insane world that we live in, once you kind of cut through the bullshit of just society and technology and you really start to experience life as it's meant to be experienced, you might start to realize that we actually live in a pretty cool world. So go check that out. Appreciate all the support, and let's try to get to 1,000 subscribers on that channel.